Welcome back, Lake listeners. Thank you for tuning in for more of the Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast. Today, we are excited to have Melissa Krantz and our Director of Operations, Caitlin, here to talk about a great topic that you can apply to both your personal and professional life. Ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having us. I think this is a great topic that really helps everyone, like you said, both in professional and personal life.
So, ladies, like I said, we have this great topic to share today, and that is the importance of learning about different personalities. You both have had some extensive training on this topic, so do you care to just kind of start by telling us a little about your history and how you learned about different personalities?
Sure, absolutely. Are you okay? I'll run with it to go first? Okay. So when Jeff and I started in real estate, we were introduced to this probably back around 1998 at one of our seminars. And I thought it was interesting because it helped understand just not how him and I were working together, but we were starting to form a team. So seeing how the team aspect would go in with personalities and then also with our clients and customers.
Oh, neat.
So you can use it in all aspects of life. If you're not even in sales, this is going to help you communicate better with your family. And ironically enough, my husband and I learned we are exactly the same personality types, which for you guys that know Jeff, my husband, yes, we are very much alike, which is scary in a way. But the one we really focused on was the DICS program, so they kind of referred to it as DISC. So when we're talking today, that's what we're going to refer to. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, you used it in your previous career, correct? In a job former to this, right?
Yes. So my background was in retail management. So I actually used a personality profile that was a little bit different from this, but essentially it all boils down to the same type of 4 quadrants. And so we used it in more of our leadership setting just to be able to learn how different people like to receive feedback and how you can coach them, whether it's up or down sometimes, but it really helped shed light on my own personal leadership style and really helped give me some insight on how to adapt that style when coaching somebody that's completely different from myself.
That's really neat. I love that you can take different aspects of it and just apply it not only to how you coach, but maybe how you just communicate with your family. Just any aspect like that is helpful. But for our listeners, I just want to dig a little bit deeper. Can we talk about some of the different types and some characteristics around each of that DISC, that DISC profile?
Sure, absolutely. And I can kind of run with, so if you look at the D personality, that is looked at more as your dominance style of communication, kind of how your body language is. I normally refer to someone that's a D, a leader. That would maybe be a CEO of a company. A realtor is normally has some D in it because you are, demanding. I am a D, so you're demanding, you're looking for results. You're quick to make a decision, and you're more action-orientated.
Okay.
I mean, you are in it to win it, and let's go. We're not messing around. If you looked at the I, which they call it the influence, that's more your life of the party. You can kind of tell if someone's always put together, well-dressed. They like a lot of attention. They're normally the loudest in the room. Mm-hmm. You can kind of pick out that I personality. Your S for steadiness, I normally look at that as someone who is very supportive. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you're going to see a teacher or a nurse in that role. They're calming, typically in the situation. I need a lot of S's in my life because I am a D and an I. Someone to kind of bring me down to say, okay, cool your jets. Let's think about it before we react. And then for a C, which, oh my gosh, what is this word even? Because my
conscientiousness?
Yeah, there you go. That's a big one. Okay. But my C, I look at that. That is an ideal person. And the seat is making noise. That's what it is. So the C, I look at that person would be great to be your accountant. Mm-hmm. I mean, that person is going to be very numbers orientated, very detailed. In real estate, that is typically my engineer, my accountant, the CFO of a company because they come in with spreadsheets.
Right.
I mean, everything has to make sense. And what's interesting when you're a D and an I, a C, sometimes we just don't mesh. Now, I can work with the C and I know what the expectations are now that I understand the personalities.
Right.
Because those, a C tends to kind of drive me nuts, but I need those in my life. Because if you looked at my organization, I would be a mess without the people that help me do those type of positions in our jobs. So.
And Caitlin, now that she kind of broke down the different types, can you give some hints on how you can pick up maybe on some of those different characteristics with your background?
Yeah, so I think that kind of what Mel said at the very end was you can gain a lot of insight on how a person leans by looking at their desk. So is it very organized? Because I think the C, they're going to have everything in its place. It's going to be all lined up. They have files for every single thing, very organized. Where the D sometimes, because that is, they don't have that crazy attention to detail, it can be kind of chaotic or a mess. But it's usually they can tell you exactly where something's at on their desk, so it's like an organized mess in their mind.
That only works for them,
yeah. So, of course, so there's that. There's also how they react to certain situations. So, depending on their body language or what they're doing, and how they, if a problem arises, what their initial instinct is to react, you can really tell maybe what personality style they are.
Yeah, that's great information. I love how you piggybacked it with just looking at someone's desk, and I think that that's genius, because it's typically, if it's not the desk, it may be their car or their home or just some area. So that's pretty funny. Mel, can you elaborate on how learning about different personalities is just kind of important for interactions, maybe even negotiations?
Oh, absolutely. What was interesting when we really studied this, and I always try to refer back to it, it helps so much because you understand their style of communication. For instance, a D, if you are a very big S person or a C person, you might get your feelings hurt. And they don't mean it personally. And I am a D and an I. So when I work with other people, I will tend to run you over. And I didn't realize that when we first started our team, and I'll just pick on myself, we had good people, but in the wrong positions. We did that. First of all, I thought they were great. They could be outgoing, go out and sell. Well, it terrified them because deep down they were really an S and a C. So I had them in the wrong position. And for me, working with staff, I know now to tell them it's okay to tell me to slow down. Because when I run in the office, I'll be like, okay, I need this, and this. Got it? Okay, bye. And I'll leave you, and you don't want to hurt my feelings, so you'll go, okay, I understand. Or you have no clue what I told you because I ran so fast over you that now I know, okay, slow down. And they know not to take it personal because I'll just spout so quickly, and I don't mean it. Because really at home, I'm a S. I'm going to love you, I'm going to nurture you, but at work, I'm like, A, B, let's get it done. Hurry up. And that's just, one way you can kind of use it. But it's important because you don't want to hurt other people's feelings. I mean, nobody wants to be a mean person.
Absolutely.
And you want to help other people, but if you don't know who you are, how do you express yourself in order to meet their needs as well?
No, I think that that's important. I know that I'm personally a C more than probably anything, and to your point, I probably get my feelings hurt at least 95% of my day. Not intentionally, not because anybody's doing anything, but that's just more of my personality being that CI. So I can see how that would be helpful to know how to bypass when working with me, So let's talk about how you work with different personalities. This can be professionally or even personally, but when you notice a struggle of personality, what are some things that you would suggest to overcome maybe a conflict? So
I think that it's so I'll bring my husband into it. So I've never had him take this profile, but I think just based on how our interactions go, like when we do approach a conflict, he's very much a C. Like he'll let me sit there and ramble and ramble and ramble at him. And I think that that's when I become a little bit more of an I, because normally I'm very much an S. Like I'm pretty calm and chill and just want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. But when a conflict arises, that's when like the S, the energy comes out, and he wants to sit there and overanalyze and like think of all of the what ifs and all of this, and I'm like, just tell me what's wrong.
Right.
Like,
yeah. You know? I just need the answers.
Right. So I think that it's really just knowing or being able to know how you are, and so you're able to better communicate with that person.
So being able to necessarily like basically reflect before you react, kind of like maybe take a second and be like, okay, what personality am I kind of facing? How do I kind of, get around that with their particular style to be able to get over
Yes, I've definitely learned over the years that I have to, sometimes when I get really amped up about a situation, I have to just give myself a good 20-30 minutes because I don't want that message to be lost in my emotion, and that's where that I comes out in me. And so being able to give myself a little bit of time to kind of just digest and calm down, it usually helps the situation a lot.
Well, and to that point, do you both ever take into account your own body language or just body language in general, noticing maybe somebody else's body language, or when you're in that position, maybe thinking about even how your body language is?
Oh, absolutely, because we're human. I think that's the hardest thing right now going through COVID. When we have to be mandated to wear masks, I can't see what your face is doing as much.
Oh, that's a great point.
I can't watch if you're smiling. Are you grimacing? Are you sticking your tongue out at me because you're angry? So it's been a little bit more challenging. And even with Zoom, I can't see where your hands are. I want to know, are you sit back, are your hands crossed? Or are you open? Do you talk with your hands a lot? Normally, if you're moving with your hands, I know you're more of an I, because you're expressing yourself.
I definitely communicate with my body, like my hands and all
yeah, I mean, I'm normally knocking my coffee off my desk. I'm like, what? Oh, sorry. So I have to come back to it. But it's huge. So, I mean, it's the body language. And when you understand this, and if anybody, it's normally free online. So I would encourage everyone just to look at it. We've done our children, and we just have fun with it because then I know how to communicate better with them. But with clients, especially like in real estate with what we do, and then also working with agents. You guys are here to help the agents as well.
Absolutely.
So most of the agents are going to be D's and I's. Those are your salespeople. And they are going to probably hurt your feelings, but they don't mean it. The thing for me, I'm always like, no crying in real estate because I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to suck it up and go. But not to say I don't cry, but I'm sure the heck not going to let you see it because I've got this tough D exterior. So I just am always like, don't cry. I don't mean it. But let's get together. But if you have a client that is crying because it is emotional, I know, okay, I've got to hit their S, their emotional part of it, of it's going to be okay. They're going to need reassurance, and I'm going to get you through it because my personality's strong. And then if I've got a C upset, I better get some graphs and something that makes sense in writing for them. Here's how we're going to resolve this. Otherwise, they're going to fall apart on me. So there's pluses and minuses to both of them.
I think that you nailed it though with, being able to have that knowledge and know what to bring to a situation like that. That's probably half the battle. Kaylen, what ways would you suggest to our listeners to learn more about their personality or others? I know we talked about just you could do a simple Google search, but you have some pretty extensive training, so you probably know of some different avenues maybe.
I mean, definitely, yeah. Google can bring up lots. The one that I use here in the office for anybody that I am thinking or interviewing, going through that process with, I have them do the Tony Robbins, which is what the one that I was introduced to here. I tried to find it. I couldn't find the name of the one that I was using in my previous employment. But like I said, it was very, very similar to the breakdown of, I mean, all of the characteristics are the same. They just named them, like analytical was C, and then there's amiable and expressive, and I can't remember the other one. But there's lots of different profiles. So I just like the Tony Robbins because it's very easy and simple and quick.
Yeah, and you feel like you matched yours from when you did it in your previous career and did it again here is pretty similar.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I think that's great. I know I personally like the Tony Robbins one too, and you can jump on Google and just type in Tony Robbins personality, and it'll pop it right up. It's free to do if you're ever interested in learning about your own personality. Some questions that I have gotten when we've taught a class about this is, can a person display more than one? Is that pretty common?
Oh, absolutely. And I think deep down we're a mix of all four.
I agree.
I mean, that's our human makeup. We're just more dominant in one or the other. Mm-hmm. Like my D and I are pretty even. Actually, my D's a little higher. Now, my husband, his I, believe it or not, is a little higher. But with him, he's not as social sometimes, where I would go to a party 24/7. I want to be in there. I want to talk to everybody. I want to go. Or he's like, I don't know. So it's interesting. So then he has a little bit more S and a little bit more C. Because, it drives him crazy the way my office works. But I'm like what you mentioned. I know exactly where everything's at. But to the outside, it's not good. In fact, the only time we ever really fought in the office, Jeff cleaned my office for me.
Oh, no.
It was a disaster. He thought he was doing this great, loving thing, and I walked in, and I lost my mind.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know where any...
I said, I had this all organized, and he's like, how? I'm like, what are you doing to my life? I mean, it was a bad fight. And since we're both the same... I'm telling you, the people next door to us, because we used to be in this main building, it was a wing-dinger. Wow. Let me tell you.
Mel, what advice would you give to agents kind of about different personalities?
I think anybody in sales, any agents here, to especially learn who they are. Because if you know who you are, you're going to know how you should react with other people and what are going to be the hot buttons or what's going to upset someone. And then once you study it more, like when I go in to meet a new client, say for a listing, I know almost from the get-go now, kind of looking at the home, if I see a ton of family pictures everywhere, someone in that family's an S. So I better ask you about your family. If I see a ton of awards in maybe an office, okay, well, someone's a D and an I because they really like to show off. Look at all the awards I've gotten through the years. I've worked really hard. I better make some note to say, wow, that's so impressive. So you're going to try to see what their hot buttons are and how to relate to them. If they have all the pictures and I think they're an S, their concerns are going to be, how is this going to disrupt my family life? Is my property going to be safe? How do I know you have my best interest for my family? Whereas maybe the C might be looking at, okay, what bottom line money is it to me? Get to the point and show me the proof that this is what the house is going to possibly bring. And the D, you better hurry up. Because that person is busy. They are not there to chit-chat. They do not care. It's not that they don't care, but they want to get to the point. They've got 50 other things going on right after you. So, chop with your listing appointment. And then if they're an I, they'll want you to sit forever.
Right.
So you just got to kind of figure out who's the decision maker and what do I need to appeal to.
Well, I wanted to kind of end that, and we've kind of hit on it, but last question. What are both of your personality types, and how do you think that has benefited you personally and professionally?
You want to go first?
Sure. So I am an IS, so the influence and the steadiness. I think as far as professionally, it's really helped me be able to identify the people around me and that I work closely with, what their personality types are, at least one of them, the stronger one, because most of the time that will show through. In my home life, it's really, it's been it's almost been more challenging because I get so frustrated at the knowing that he's, I mean, I'm guessing that he's a C. And so it's being able to, because I think that after, so many years, they should understand you, but there's still no changing how we function or how, how we process things. So, but it's I think it's been awesome just knowing more about it, and even doing the assessment, I'm like, that's not how I am.
Even though it's probably spot on.
Yes, yeah. So it's been very helpful though over the years.
What about you, Mel?
So I am a D and an I. And it was interesting. I was talking to Jeff this morning because my parents were here over the weekend. And I was sitting outside and we were grilling, and I said I was going to do this podcast with the two of you. And my dad goes, well, I know, we don't know where you came from. Why are you like you? Because my household of 5, we are loud. We make decisions. Music's up. People are talking. I mean, it's go, go, go. That is not how I grew up at all. So my dad is a C, and an introvert, but he's going to digest and analyze every single thing. And my mom is more of an I and an S. She was a teacher, but she loves to talk to you, and she's going to give gab with you. And I said, it's interesting growing up in that household. I know now why I'm a D and an I, because it drove me nuts. They could not make a decision. I mean, we will analyze it. I'm like, for the love of Mary, get to the point. We're going to eat at this place. Let's go. Or we're going to move, or we're going to do this. And then I wanted the attention because I think my dad was so quiet. And then my mom was more of the S, the teacher, nurturer. And I'm like, nah. I want to go talk to everybody and bring them all over to the party. So it's, I think there's got to be something how we're raised.
Yeah.
In a way. But how our children both are D's and I's. I don't know, the genes might have gotten messed up, but we're the same, and it's crazy in our house, so.
I love that. And I to your point, Mel, I think that growing up probably does have some influence there. I can see, because my mom is very much a D. I just know it without even her taking the test. She is the same way, and I am a polar opposite. I'm more like emotional. Even growing up with her, I'd be like, don't yell at me, because it would just destroy me for the whole day. So yeah, I could see how that is a building block. But I appreciate both of you guys being here, and Grow, Thrive, Inspire listeners, we could not be more thankful to these two for bringing their knowledge and experience about personalities here and sharing it with us. We have more episodes coming for season 1 of the show, so be sure to tune back in on Wednesdays and find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, or you can go to growthriveinspirepodcast.com. Be sure to also check out our Remax Lake of the Ozark Facebook page for any open houses coming up. Open houses are posted on Thursdays for the upcoming weekend. Even though it's fall and Halloween is coming, we promise not to spook you away. And remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire. See you soon.